Hello, and welcome to the Mesa Public Schools Virtual College Fair. We are so excited to have you join us. We have 5 institutions that are ready to tell you about their schools. And I am Danielle. I'm going to be your facilitator throughout the evening. And I have a couple of housekeeping items for you. Your camera and microphone are off, so our presenters cannot see or hear you. I want to encourage you to ask questions throughout tonight's presentation. So to ask those questions, you can use the Q&A button on your screen. You can direct your question at a particular college, or you can ask a question to all of the colleges. This is one of other sessions that are happening today. So once we close out of this session, there will be one final session. So I want to encourage you to check out the colleges that will be presenting then. And all of these will also be available to you as a recording at strivescan.com/Greater Arizona. All right, I want to get started with our first presenter this evening, and that is the New England Conservatory of Music.
Great, thank you very much, Danielle, and welcome everybody. My name is Zach Schwartz. I am the Associate Director of Enrollment at New England Conservatory all the way on the East Coast in Boston. I'm here with my colleague Austin Comerford, who's our enrollment counselor. And the two of us represent different areas within the institution. So New England Conservatory, or NEC as we call ourselves, we are one of the few private independent conservatories of music in the United States. Now, what this means is that we have our own campus. We're not affiliated with any larger institution or university. We have all of our own degree programs, which Austin will go over with you. We do all of our own financial aid, and we do our own application. So that means that we do not look at the Common App at all. It's our own app, which Austin will tell you a little bit about in a few minutes. So as I mentioned, we're located all the way on the East Coast. Austin and I are actually both from the greater Boston area originally. Boston's a wonderful cultural hub. There's lots of arts and artists. There's a huge population of students. Boston is home to about 50 colleges and universities, so we have several 100,000 students who come here every September. So it's a really great place to be a student, a great place to come and focus on your art specifically. And at our conservatory, performing and rehearsing and teaching is kind of all we do. And so in that regard, if you come to visit, you'd be able to take a tour of our campus. And we specifically are based around 8 concert halls and 200 practice rooms. So you're always going to be performing and rehearsing, and you have ample opportunity to be honing your craft in a practice room as well. And last thing I'll say for now is just to touch on, we have basically 3 disciplines that we focus on. The first is classical music, the second is jazz, and the third is what we call contemporary musical arts, or CMA. And this is largely non-Western music that's based around oral and oral traditions and a lot of folk music. And I'll turn it over to Austin to talk about some of our degree programs.
Thank you, Zach. As Zach said, my name is Austin Comerford. I'm an enrollment counselor at NEC. So at the undergraduate level, we have a few different offerings. Our most popular undergraduate degree that we offer is our Bachelor's of Music. In this degree, you're going to be doing mostly music-based classes. However, there is also a liberal arts portion of the curriculum. So each year you are going to be enrolled in liberal arts courses that cover things like math, science, humanities, languages, and a lot of different things that you might be interested in. As far as what goes into the core musical curriculum, one major facet of being at a conservatory is that you're taking private lessons with your studio instructor. So that's a big thing that you're going to be doing every week for at least 1 hour. You'll also be in a core music curriculum of music theory, music history, and ear training. All of those are to kind of round you out as a musician and arm you with the tools you need as you go forward. In addition to that, you'll also be in ensembles. If you play an instrument, you might be in orchestra or wind ensemble. If you're in our jazz program, you might be in a big band or a combo. Or if you're in our contemporary musical arts program, maybe you're in a group that you design on your own that isn't one of those larger groups. We also have several choirs on campus, and we put on several operas each year. Aside from that, before I move on to our other degree offerings, I want to mention that we have a liberal arts minor. So if you are interested in pursuing music and also have interests in maybe some of the humanities, you might be able to you might find that interesting. We also offer 2 dual degrees, one at Tufts and one with Harvard University. They're a little bit different, so I'm going to walk through them quickly. They're both 5-year programs. So rather than the usual 4-year track, you're going to be at the school for 5 years. At the Tufts program, you're going to get an undergraduate degree from Tufts and an undergraduate degree from New England Conservatory. The Tufts degree is in whatever you decide to study there, and the NEC degree is going to be in music. If you do the Harvard NEC program, you're going to get an undergraduate degree from Harvard and a graduate degree, a master's from NEC. It's a much more high-level program because you're coming into NEC as a grad student and you're going to Harvard, so it's a little bit more intense. At both schools, you're kind of splitting your time between the campuses, but for both programs, you're going to be spending the first 3 years more at the other school, and then you start to spend a lot more time at our school for the last 2. Zach, pass it back to you.
Yeah, and so just a couple things just to wrap up. I will mention that as we finish off here, I'm going to drop a link to our brand new digital view book, which can give you sort of the lay of the land for all of our programs and processes and a day in the life. We'll stick that in the chat for everybody. One of the last things I'll just mention is really one of the areas that we specialize in is training our students to be working professionals. So we train you in a portfolio career, and we have a really fabulous department called entrepreneurial musicianship that offers coursework and advising and job postings as well. So to wrap up, I will post our link, which has links to our application process, as well as all facets of daily life here in Boston at NEC. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you all. All right, our next presenter is from LIM College.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Okay, everybody, my name is Natasha. I am one of the admissions counselors here at LIM College. We are a fashion merchandising school all the way from Midtown Manhattan in New York City. Today, we're going to learn just a little bit about us, a little bit about the majors that we offer, the internships that we provide, and everything about New York and LIM as a whole. If anybody needs my contact information, I have my email and my phone number listed right here, as well as the areas that I recruit in, including Arizona, also Staten Island and Queens on the East Coast, California, Australia, New Zealand, and Eastern Europe. So a little bit about LIM. Like I mentioned, we are in the heart of Midtown Manhattan with 2 campuses, one on 45th and 5th Avenue in the heart of all of the best shopping and restaurants in New York. And then just right up the street on the east side, you will find another one of our buildings where all of our offices are located, academic advisors, student financial services. And in the middle of both of our campuses, we also do provide a residence hall for all of our students, which construction was finished this past summer. Brand new modern facility for all of our students that we do share with other colleges in New York. And I'm going to touch base a little bit about that as well on another slide. We do offer triples, doubles, and single rooms. And this building is within walking distance of both of our buildings. So there is no need for public transportation when getting to class. And New York is essentially your campus. We had about 1,034 undergraduate students on campus, not including virtually last semester for the 2021 year. We represented 42 of the 50 states. Our average class size was about 14. So you are getting that smaller, close-knit family-like student life here at LIM. We don't have large lecture halls like a lot of SUNY schools. So an average size class of 14, you'll really get to know your classmates and your professors. We also did represent 16 international countries as well. So let's go back to our Found Study Residence Hall here in Midtown East. Like I mentioned, we did finish construction this past August. So everything is super modern and renovated with the college students in mind. We have 24-hour security and ID cards for the students to sign into the building. So we secure their safety 24/7. And being in the heart of Midtown on Lexington Avenue, just a quick walk from both of our campus buildings. You'll just be multiple steps away from subway lines and buses, so you can go to dinner and go to your internships with no problem. A safe and filled place to call home, and you'll also be able to commute to wherever you need to go and the support you'll have to succeed. Some majors that we offer here at LIM. We offer fashion media, fashion merchandising, marketing, management, visual studies, the international business, business of fashion, and the business of cannabis being our newest major. We also offer minors such as styling, entrepreneurship, sustainability, and we offer clubs such as book club, dance club, LGBTQ inclusion, and the Lexington line, which is our student-ran magazine. We also provide an office of career and internship services. If you are interested in some of the internships that we provide here at LIM, their email is listed right here for you to jot down. We'll explore careers via career education courses, industry events, coaching, and you'll download an app called Handshake, where you'll be able to browse through 200 plus internships that we do offer with LIM, through the partnerships that we provide for you, and you'll gain that real world industry experience via 3 required internships. We'll hold career and internship fairs hosted every semester. We'll help you with career matching and recruiting and lifelong career coaching and alumni connections even after you graduate. 95% of the class of 2021 was working in the business of fashion and related industries or continuing their education within just 6 months of graduation. This is a year-to-year over increase of just 1%. And the 2021 LIM graduates are making their mark all around New York and other states and countries, doing everything from e-commerce to digital marketing, buying and merchandising, sales and retail management, product development, event planning, social media, human resources, and public relations. And if you look here, you will see 93 of our students last year in 2021 were employed, where 4% were still looking, and 2% were continuing their education in the business of fashion, going for their graduate degree. A little bit about LIM and cost and tuition. Our 2022-2023 academic year was about $30,382. 81% of our students did receive financial assistance. We have an amazing team of student financial service aides to help you along the way, whether it is submitting your FAFSA or creating a payment plan. They are here for you via Zoom, especially when you guys are on the West Coast. We do offer a free application for FAFSA, and March 1st is our priority deadline. For anybody looking, our code is 007466. And just to wrap up really quickly, we are not on the Common App. Our application is provided online, limcollege.com. We are SAT optional. We do require all transcripts, and we do not require an interview unless you're an early action student with us.
Thank you. Our next presenter, oh, I'm sorry. Our next presenter is from Kansas City Art Institute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josie Eckerman. I'm an admissions counselor with the Kansas City Art Institute. I'm also going to go ahead and share my screen. So we are a 4-year college of art and design in Kansas City, Missouri. It is good to know that Kansas City is on the border of Kansas and Missouri. So our school is actually on the Missouri side. And this is a picture of it. We actually started off as a drawing school in the 1800s. So that's the really old building on the left. And then we do have our contemporary buildings as well. So we just built a new one in 2020 that I'll show a little bit later. If you've never been to Kansas City, it is a hub for the arts. We do have our Kansas City Crossroads Arts District, and this is a view of our skyline. We do have about 2.6 million people. So we are a metropolitan area, kind of a medium-sized city. We also have these really great resources around our school. So the Nelson Adkins is one of the top 5 for historical art in the country. We have really great Asian art collections, and we also have our contemporary wing. And then we also have the Kemper Museum of Contemporary Art on the opposite side. These museums are both within walking distance, and they're free to all students at all times. The H&R Block Art Space is a space for our BFA students. So the senior students get to have one piece in this show each year. And then the KCAI gallery is a student gallery. It actually is our renovated dorm space. So as a student here, you can have work shown all 4 years in this gallery, and you can put that on your resume. This is a picture of the Kansas City Arts Crossroads District. We do have over 100 galleries in this space. We have faculty, alumni, and students all showing in these spaces. And oftentimes students also do internships in these spaces. And then you can also see some of the museums around the campus. But we also have an event called First Friday. So if you ever are thinking about coming to visit the campus, I would come on a First Friday. It's the first Friday of each month. And all of these entities open up at the same time, and it's kind of a celebration of the arts. We have performances, food trucks, and all kinds of events, so you can walk around and go see all of the art galleries. And then this is a map of our campus. So we do have a more traditional college campus. You can see some of the newer buildings. We have a new liberal arts building and a new residence hall. We also have a lot of greenery and nature surrounding our campus. So if you are looking for that more traditional feel, this could be a good place for you. And then you can see how close the Kemper and the Nelson Adkins museums are on either side. This is a picture of our new residence hall. It is very beautiful and colorful. So as you drive by, it kind of looks like a color wheel, which is really fun. We do have a full service dining hall. We also have a kitchen, a laundry room, an exercise room, and a game room in this space. This is a picture of our new dormitory. So you have really high ceilings. You can decorate it however you would like. And then it is a suite style. So if you can imagine this room mirrored on the opposite side, you would be kind of sharing that space with technically 3 other people, but 1 person in your room. And then you would share a bathroom and a shower space, which is in the middle. And they each have 2 separate doors that, you can keep your privacy, which is important. We also have our fabrication laboratory, and this is where art and technology collide. So we have laser etchers and engravers. We have 3D printers that print ceramics and plastic. We have CNC machines that cut wood and metal. We have a 3D digital loom that weaves photorealism. And then we have all of our computers with 3D modeling software like Rhino and Blender. And there's always a technician in this space that can help you. You can use it all 4 years whenever you like. As well as our central shop, which is a little more traditional. So lots of saws and things to make furniture design, or maybe you want to make a frame for a painting and stretch a canvas. So all kinds of things in here to work with as well. And then this is a picture of our new liberal arts building. So we are also very interested in liberal arts, and I will go over that in just a second. But this is kind of a view of what your classroom setting would look like. Something really special about Kansas City is that all of our faculty are working artists in their field. That is kind of the biggest part of their job, is to give you their experience. So that's really important to us. And then also we have a dedicated workspace for all students. So everyone has your own studio space, even as a freshman, and it kind of grows as you get older throughout the years. We are regionally and nationally accredited by the Higher Learning Commission and NASAD, which is the National Accreditation for Schools of Art and Design. And you would get a BFA degree from Kansas City. This is kind of the credit breakdown. So most of the credits are in the studio making classes, the art making courses, and then the rest of them are divided in the liberal arts courses. So art history, history, science, literature, and philosophy. And then we do have those 6 open elective credits. So if you would like to take classes outside of your own department, you have the opportunity to do so. This is a list of all of our fine art majors, as well as our double majors, art history and creative writing. And then we also have minors in social practice, entrepreneurial studies, Asian studies, and sound. Entrepreneurial studies is definitely our biggest minor program. Almost 50% of our population is enrolled in this, and this is really business classes geared towards the art student. And we have about 750 students on our campus at all times. We also do not use Common App. So our application kind of opens up and you put in your basic information, and then you will upload your portfolio and your transcript and your statement. And that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I can take those at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we will hear from our last presenter before we go into questions. So I want to encourage our attendees to use the Q&A button on their screen to ask any questions to our presenters, but our presenters will also stick around to answer some questions that we already have developed that we think you all would benefit from. All right, so our last presenter is from Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design.
Hi, my name says Melissa, but that is my boss. That is not correct. What am I sharing? All right.
We see your email for now.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Okay.
See PowerPoint now. I'm new to Zoom.
It's okay. Let's see here. If you minimize that screen, then your PowerPoint may be behind it.
Okay. No, I did it correctly. I misclicked.
Okay, and
Sorry about this.
Mhm.
All right. Hi, I am Thomas, and we are MyEd. We are a third ward based, like downtown Milwaukee art school. The third ward is a very lovely downtown urban center in the heart of Wisconsin, which I don't know if it's a joke or if it's true, but they say there are more cows than people here in Wisconsin. I believe it, frankly. So third ward is very lovely. And as far as the campus goes, I'd like to start with the student housing, which are basically condos, lots of amenities. These places are nicer than my apartment. Very nice, fully furnished. You have everything that you need. Here's an example of the 3-bedroom dorm, which is what most people opt for because it's a little bit cheaper than the 2-bedroom dorm. You have plenty of space to work, and you are just across the street from the building itself, which is a relatively small building. We have an art store, Blick Art Store, a coffee shop, and a park, all within a stone's throw of each other. Really, you're just going to be crossing the street as long as you're living in those dorms for the first 2 years as a student at MyEd. So who we are is a very, very much a mixed bag. We have, it's again, relatively small, 903 students. There is in each class a 16 students per 1 professor ratio. So you get a very nice close relationship. You're on a first name basis with your professor, and they are also working professionals in the creative field. The lab spaces that we have are also quite extensive. We have this 3D lab, a textiles lab, and a emerging technologies lab, which are always expanding. There's always new stuff being added in, people trying out new things. And there's the Innovation Center, which is our entrepreneurial hub, where if you want to try something, and that's where you go. You contact Drew and he'll figure something out. We also have a very industrious sculptural lab. I took a tour through there the other week, and there's a new forge, which is really awesome. And we also have the second largest printmaking facility in the Midwest. We also have lighting studios that are available for all these spaces are available for everyone as they take their first year experience. And this first year experience is going to really take you through everything that the school has to offer. They're going to have you doing 2D, 3D, 4D, which is time-based media, just so you get a really solid foundation and familiarity with the campus alongside foundational skill. They make you try everything. And this is an example of like what you're going to do your first year, the kinds of projects, regardless of what you enter in. Like I entered as a comic artist and was doing woodworking, just because they really make you do everything. We have 5 majors, all of which are BFA. So you're not going to be competing with any master students. There's illustration, communication design, NSP, product design, and industrial architecture and design. So the new studio practice is our umbrella major for any fine arts medium, so studio-based, whatever, where you focus more on putting tradition into a contemporary concept or contemporary mindset. It's very much concept-based, and you train to focus on like galleries and other professional practice alongside just getting strictly better at craftsmanship. There's also illustration, which is problem solving through drawing. You craft narratives, you do all these, there's a lot of emphasis on digital, even though it's not entirely what everyone does. We get to do a lot of posters, a lot of products even, and collaborate with local folks to make things for them, like this Penfield Children's Center promotional charity poster. Very looked forward to yearly event for illustrators. We also have our new animation track, which is like a sub-major, and all the tools that necessary to get you there in jobs in like virtual VFX or just traditional animation. You know, we have like light table studios, that kind of thing, all available for you. Moving on, we have communication design, and this is, there's a great focus on brand, as well as typography, package design, layouts. All these things are really geared towards brand marketing, that sort of thing. Product design is our new kind of like reflavoring, where we focus on the empathetic nature of design. So you'll see a lot of like seatbelts and things like that alongside cars, and then interior architecture and design, which is designing environments and spaces rather than buildings. And then fashion is our brand new one, which is very exciting, where we focus on ready-wear, sustainability, problem solving through fashion. There's a lot more, so I encourage you to go to maya.edu for more information for things like financial aid, and I thank you for your time.
Wonderful, thank you. So we have heard from all of our presenters. We were supposed to hear from one additional institution, and that is the Institute of American Indian Arts, and they weren't able to join us so far. If they do join us later in the presentation, we will include them so that they can share their time with you all. But since we have our college representatives with us right now, I would love to bring everyone back on the screen and us present some questions to you that we believe will be helpful to you as you are going through your college search process. So the very first question is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we're going to start with New England Conservatory of Music.
Absolutely. Thank you, Danielle. So, a piece of advice that I tend to give our applicants, I've been doing this job for many years, and I tend to meet a lot of people that feel that they need to kind of do absolutely everything possible in the college search process. And what I recommend is don't burn out, find a hobby. And I mean that actually, while I'm sort of laughing about it, I actually mean it quite seriously, because I think what happens is, you sort of have your full-time job as a young person going to school, being in high school, and then you sort of take on the second full-time job during your junior year looking for college. And I think you need to make sure that you take a break, because the goal is when you get to college at any of these fabulous institutions, that's when you're going to sort of be putting it into high gear and working. So my biggest piece of advice is to try to get enough rest and try to give yourself some grace in the process. And it doesn't have to sort of be all the way up to 11 all the time.
Okay, and we'll continue going in the same order that you all presented. So LIM.
Absolutely, Zach. I think that's great advice. I usually tell my students as well, take your time in the research process. You have time to do information sessions with schools that you're interested in, do your research in majors and clubs that interest you within those schools. Don't feel like you're being rushed. You have junior year, you have the beginning of your senior year to really dig deep into where you're interested in going, where you're interested in living, and really take the time to check out all the schools that interest you.
I think my advice would be to think about what kind of experience you want to have in college, the surrounding area of that place, the weather, just kind of like everyday things, because you are going to be there for 4 years of your life. So that is, it's not long in the grand scheme, but it can feel like that. So I think really thinking about your surroundings and everything in that city, along with also the financial aid process in the package, because college tuition and loans is a big part of it. So I think really thinking about what you're comfortable with after you graduate, and you're a young adult. So that's probably two of my things that I talk about a lot.
I would like to echo what everyone else has said so far, but I will also say to trust your gut. If you don't get the right vibe from the college that you visit, or from the people that you talk with when you're doing the research, it's okay. There are other colleges.
All right, our next question is, what is one myth you like to debunk on the college admission process? I know that there's so many, just rumors, we'll call them rumors, that are going around about how this process works. So what is one myth that you like to debunk on the college admission process? And we'll go in the same order.
I'll take this one. So I'd say that overall, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to, kind of piggybacking off what Zach said, you don't have to totally overload your schedule. We see that you participate in every sport team and you do every outside ensemble and all that. And if you have 1B or 1C, that's not going to totally bomb your chances of getting into the school. What we're looking for is somebody who's trying, who has a desire to learn, and a desire to better themselves. And you can show us that through ways other than just grades. So that's my bit.
My answer is very similar. I feel like during this application process, we do look at more than just grades now. We look at things such as letters of recommendation and work experience and resumes. And for us in particular, things like a portfolio and photography experience. So if you do have that real world experience outside of just your grades and your transcripts, we debunk the idea of just needing a certain GPA to be able to get into school, and everything kind of coincides with each other and we look at everything.
I would like to highlight with this question that you're not alone in the process. I never want someone to feel like they can't ask questions. Sometimes I feel like people think of college applications as like, you're just one of like many thousands, and that if you have a question or you're like too scared to ask, like you think no one's going to answer you or something. So I think always reach out, because there are people that care and there are people that want to help you with the process. So that's probably my biggest advice on this one.
I would say my advice is to, coming from an art school specifically, while our main priority is, of course, your portfolio and your body of work, it is still worth considering grades, because in Myad's case, merit-based scholarships and the primary source of financial aid refers strongly to your GPA and things like that. So while it's not the be all end all, it is still important.
Thank you all for sharing that advice. Now, here's a crowd favorite for college representatives. What's one thing, just one thing that you want students to remember about your particular institution? And we'll go in the same order. So just highlight one thing.
So I think the thing that's very special about our school is how many performance venues we have. So we have 8 full concert halls right on campus. And what that means is then you have access to those all day, every day throughout your degree.
I would say one thing I would want students to remember about LIM in particular is that you are in New York and the experiences are endless. So while you are in class and while you are working, take in the city, go to museums, go to Broadway shows, remember the New York experience while you're here and not just the time that you're in class.
Something that I would like you all to remember about KCAI is our plethora of studio space dedicated to our students. We are also only a school for undergraduates, so all of our studio space is dedicated to those students, and they're open from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. You can go there whenever you please, and you have all of your supplies in that one space, and it's kind of your home away from home. So if you're really looking for that studio space that's all your own, I would think about KCAI as an option.
I would say that something worth remembering about Myad is that you have the space to be weird. Everyone there is kind of weird. Outside of the studio spaces that you have access to, there are also a number of entirely student-run clubs and a campus that's just fun to explore purely because one day you could find a shrine to cartoon dads in the stairwell. And it's just there the whole year. It just keeps getting added to it. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you all so much for sharing your advice and for sharing those great highlights about your institution. That does bring us to the end of tonight's virtual college fair. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. For the attendees, as you close out of this session, you will receive a quick survey. We appreciate the feedback that you provide us there. There's one last session that's going to be starting in just about 15 to 20 minutes. So please join us at the top of the hour for that session. This recording will be available at strivescan.com/Greater Arizona. Thank you all for being with us this evening.